Parents of tweens, if you're familiar with far-off drop-offs...
Dad, stop, right here.
Or get DMs about what's for dinner, you may be experiencing tween milestones. For your son or daughter, these can start at age 9. HPV vaccination, a type of cancer prevention against certain HPV-related cancers, can start then too.
For most, HPV clears on its own. But for those who don't clear the virus, it can cause certain cancers later in life.
Embrace this phase. Help protect them in the next.
Ask their doctor today about HPV vaccination. Brought to you by Merck.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. Between two-factor authentication, strong passwords, and a VPN, you try to be in control of how your info is protected. But many other places also have it, and they might not be as careful. That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats. If your identity is stolen, they'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit lifelock.com/podcast for 40% off. Terms apply.
Welcome to Farm Year Daily, a field-forward podcast. I'm David Geiger, your host. Today on Farm Year Daily, we're at the Iowa State Fair. We have a couple conversations coming along from the folks wandering and working at the fair. Please be sure to like and follow the podcast as well as our social media at Field Forward Pod. We would love to have you join our community, keeping folks informed about what is affecting our farmers. This is Farm Year Daily. And joining me on Farm Year Daily, we have Mitch Hoyer. He is the Iowa State University Extension and Outreach 4-H State Youth Leader. Thank you so much, Mitch, for joining us on the program. And we're at the Iowa State Fair right now. It is a fun time to be an Iowan. And first off, can you tell me what the Iowa State Fair means to you when you think of it and when you go to it every year?
Well, I think about the Iowa State Fair and being the premier community celebration for everyone in Iowa. Fairs have a long and rich history in this state, and we know at county fairs are incredibly important to communities. It brings people together, gives young people like 4-H members an opportunity to showcase what they've learned. It's just a celebration of all things good with Iowa, and the State Fair is just that times 100.
I'm glad you brought that up because the Iowa State Fair is more than just the fair. It's a culmination of a bunch of county fairs that have come before it.
Well, and especially in the youth world. For example, we're in the 4-H exhibits building, and so everything in the building is a result of young people having their exhibits selected at a county fair to come here. There certainly are open competitions. For example, our 4-H livestock is open, and there's open shows and adult shows and all kinds of things. But an incredible amount of talent, whether you're talking adults or youth.
Pretty big difference between the county fairs and the Iowa State Fair is the Iowa State Fair will have many more people who have almost no connection at all to agriculture. And this is really an opportunity, especially as you said, we're in the 4-H building. We are here watching a bunch of folks wander around, seeing the arts and crafts and talents of our young people. How does this connect urban and rural America?
Well, I really think it gives us a chance to showcase what rural America and the 4-H programs are all about. Certainly, as we think about the Iowa State Fair in general, there are many places on the grounds very much dedicated to agriculture education. The Knapp Animal Learning Center, the garden up on the northeast side, the whole agriculture building. Even coming to the 4-H exhibits building, people will find exhibits around veterinary science, crop science, forestry, the animal science area. And in our case, with young people, it is showcasing things that they have learned throughout the year, and now they're putting something together to tell about that. So it certainly is a place where people can come and experience and learn, and you're absolutely right. As more and more generations get removed from the farm, we know the demographics of our state are changing, and yet it's an opportunity also to highlight just how important agriculture is to this state.
As a testament to what you just said there, I was looking through a video comment the other day. It was doing something with cows, and I read a comment that said, I don't know why I never thought that cows had hooves. It never crossed my mind. And that is something that's so disconnected from agriculture that you really have to wonder, how do we communicate and how do we cross that boundary line? And what do you think when you speak with the youth, when you see the folks who are going to be the next generation, who are going to teach the next generation, how does that impact how you work with 4-H?
Well, one of the things that we have made a very public statement about in the last year is we are going to continue to put emphasis on agriculture in our 4-H projects, and especially that intersection of agriculture and STEM and technology. 4-H is much, much more, and if you're in this building, you know that. We have sewing and needle arts and photography and woodworking and mechanics and all those things. But if we go back to the very roots of our organization, it came out of those one-room schoolhouses and extending the learning from the classroom. And so we had corn clubs and pig clubs and garden clubs. And so it's foundational to our roots. It will always be part of what we are. And we believe the time is now to put increased emphasis on that in our program. As you talk about how we are going to communicate and train the next generation, one of the things that we are launching, and I believe we're having the selection ceremony at the State Fair. I don't remember which day. It's one of them coming up. We are launching a 4-H Ag Ambassadors program. And it is geared at young people who are juniors and seniors in high school, and including their freshman or sophomore year in college. We're bringing them together, and they'll learn from professionals in the field about how to communicate their story and truly be an ambassador for agriculture in Iowa.
As you look at that ambassador program, as you look at agriculture and rural America, what do you think is the primary focus from the folks that you're working with, the youth? What are they interested in moving on and moving forward?
Well, I think they're certainly interested in agriculture as a career. What's that opportunity? And young people, and particularly if they're going back to a rural area, how do they then use that and give back to their community? We know that 4-H members are 4 times as likely to be willing to give back to the community as non-4-H members. So how do we encourage that and encourage them to stay involved? But beyond that, one of the things we're really trying to do, and I mentioned a little bit ago, that intersection of agriculture and technology, is introducing agriculture as a potential career people to young people who may not have thought that had any application to their work. Coding, computer scientists, engineers. My 88-year-old father sent me photos earlier this week of his soybean fields being sprayed with a drone sprayer. Well, now think about all the things that go into that. There was a chemist involved in putting the chemicals together. You had an agronomist someplace along the way decided that field needed to be sprayed. You had engineers who needed to design that drone. You have somebody that needed to get a pilot's license to make that happen. So, by introducing those concepts, you take somebody who may be a computer science major and says, oh, I didn't know the agriculture field needed somebody to program the robotic tractor. And so one of the things we're trying to do is just open possibilities to people. And a lot of those opportunities exist in this state. So, they don't have to go long distance to fulfill those career dreams if we can help make them come true here.
And that's so important too, because I know some people who have no agriculture background who are working at major agriculture related companies. And while it is good that they can bring a different perspective to the ideas and solving problems within the field, there's also a 100% need to have people from that background who know the consequences of certain decisions and actions within.
Oh, absolutely right, because, more so than any field, if we think about agriculture as an ecosystem, it's how it all ties together, yes.
Mitch, We are here at the 4-H building. I definitely want to highlight some of the awesome projects and events that are going on here. What are you excited about? There are so many art projects, informational boards, photography. You said there's some woodworking things going. There's so much stuff going here. What are you interested in looking at here? What would you like folks to know about what's going on here?
Well, what I would want folks to know is I think the number that was given to me was 3,317 exhibits in this building somewhere, all from young people, age from 5th grade through 12th grade. They can come down and they can see a engineered and 3D printed tornado siren.
Wow.
Which is cool.
That's so cool.
A restored 1946 Cushman scooter. One of what I think is one of the most outstanding art shows, youth or adult, in the state. I don't know, we have 500 or 600 photographs, I think, on display, is something like that. What I would want people to know is to come down and experience and just see the talent of young people that we have in the state and in the 4-H program. What am I looking forward to? We have thousands of young people that will come through this building during the course of the fair. We have several of our state council members and other teenage young people who will be working with us. This is a leadership opportunity for them, and seeing that growth and development of them. Those are the things that put a smile on my face. This is a place to restore your faith in the youth of today.
I appreciate that, because I think it's also important, as I'm getting older, as we continue to grow that next generation, to know of how important it is to invest into them, and as the future, make sure we're paying back what we got when we were younger too.
Well, it absolutely is. We talk in 4-H that one of the things we're doing is we're preparing young people for what's next. We are helping them be ready. We are helping them become beyond ready. And it's really, how are we helping them become ready to lead in life, lead in work, be healthy, productive, engaged in their communities?
Mitch Hoyer is the Iowa State University Extension and Outreach 4-H Youth Development Leader. Thank you so much, Mitch, for joining me on Farm Here Daily.
Glad to be part of it.
This is Farm Here Daily. We'll have more conversations on the way, but first we're going to take a look at the marketplace. And there was some green at the close for Monday. September corn 2 1/4 cents higher, 3.85, with December rising 2 1/4, 4.07 3/4. Soybeans in September 24 cents a bushel stronger, 9.91 3/4, with November rising 23 3/4, $10.11 1/4. Soybean meal in September $4.20 a ton in the green, $280.80. September wheat half a penny more, 5.15, with December rising half a penny as well, 5.35 1/2. In the livestock market close for Monday, October live cattle up 12 cents, 226.10, December rising 55 cents, 228.47. September feeder cattle 22 cents a hundredweight more at 340.60, with October rising 45 cents at 339.67. Lean hogs in October $1.10 a hundredweight higher, $91.77, with December rising 45 cents at $84.22. That is the Monday market close. This is Farm Here Daily. All right, I just got back from the fair actually not too long ago, so we're going to have a bit of a later show upload today, as well as a bit of a shorter show. I had a lot of really great conversations going around the fair today. In fact, I was meeting up with the folks from the Iowa Renewable Fuels Association, Bill Cowser, Grant Kimberly, all of them were hanging out with some staffers from Washington, D.C. and showing them the state fair. And I passed by and was talking to some of the staffers there as well. I think there's some really good conversations happening at the state fair. And as I've talked with them about and I've talked with you about, it really is a great opportunity to just bridge that urban-rural divide and talk about the things folks sometimes don't talk about in their day-to-day life, and that is oftentimes farming. Unfortunately, even though we eat every day, there's folks who just don't really see how it gets from that growing point to that restaurant or food point that they see at their own house. So I think it's really good to meet up with folks, have opportunities. In fact, a buddy of mine invited me to a farm to table event with the Master Chef winner here in Iowa, and I had a really good time with my friend and eating some Iowa grown food locally sourced from around the city of Des Moines and in the surrounding countryside, and that was a really fun time as well. And it just reminded me too of the other opportunities and the other ways agriculture can be involved in the day-to-day conversation, even if folks oftentimes are more on the conventional side of agriculture and what we do now here in Iowa and how we produce so much. There are ways to localize it as well with the folks here in our communities. So we're going to continue with some of those conversations at the Iowa State Fair, and I hope you join along with that. I know I'm going to be walking around the fair talking to all the folks that are involved in our state's agriculture, as well as agriculture from around the country that are visiting. This is Farm Year Daily, a Field Forward podcast. Thank you so much again for listening. In order to continue to produce this type of local content, we would love to have you join our community, so please follow the podcast and check out our social media channels at Field Forward Pod. You can also find me on social media at Geiger Reports, as well as WHO TV Channel 13 every weekday in their morning and noon hour programs. Again, I am your host, David Geiger, and I'll be back again tomorrow, everybody.